Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Taylor Henry here from Henry Pastures in Viroqua, Wisconsin. Taylor, thanks for jumping on with me.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I am too, and you've got a lot of different business experience in your past, and I'd love for you to bring that all together for us. So if you don't mind, can we talk about Henry Pastures?
Yeah, so Henry Pastures is we are a farm that manages now over 200 acres of grazing land. We practice regenerative agriculture and rotationally graze cattle, pigs, and chickens. Our basic rules are we manage land by mimicking what nature does and what nature wants. And then we sell our products via e-commerce. So e-commerce store that ships across the Midwest. And then, we'll be heading into some grocery stores this summer. So we're getting a little bit more of the wholesale bulk as everything grows. So that's like my passion, working with land, managing with land. My past, I had a lot of marketing experience and actually consulting other businesses, and then having clients that were specifically in the marketing niche. It started with a video production company, moved slowly into a marketing agency that I had with one of my good friends, where we had more like the monthly clients, along with building online courses, along with teaching marketers how to be marketers, and then having
Cool.
masterminds, events. Probably a lot of the same things that you're doing in your venture right now. um I think it was an awesome business. At that time, my friend was the visionary, kind of the forward-facing figure of that business, and I was more of the operations, and handled a lot of the digital media buying. Got really good at Facebook and Instagram advertising, even as much as it changes today. And just essentially, I moved and made a goal where we start pulling, not pulling, but just moving away from the client-based work and building the businesses that I'm more passionate about, and kind of installing all the systems and things that I was installing for other people into our stuff. So I think our high ticket, more client-based work now revolves around selling and buying land as a
Okay.
realtor. So we treat that more as just it's a similar model as the old marketing agency, where you have, clients that you have to take care of. We have systems set up through that, but that also translates and correlates well with the farming. So all of our content and all the media that we create gets created through the farming business, but it translates well to the real estate business.
Yeah, I love that you say the S word so frequently. Systems,
What's
like
that? Systems, yeah.
systems. People think it's a swear word, but systems, I mean,
Yeah.
that's how businesses run and grow, right? And when we have systems, we can step away and work on other things, and can apply systems, like you said, to real estate, to farming, to marketing, whatever that might be. So thank you so much for saying the S word over and over again.
Yeah, and I can tell you, if create like, so we have branches of every business, right? Like, you have the marketing side. Well, the marketing side of the meat and the e-commerce sales still feeds also the real estate and the lead gen for that. So all the people that I have, the graphic designers, video editors, they all work across the multiple businesses, and then it also works well with the customer support. So all the people that take care of the step-by-step processes of closings and real estate transactions are also the same people that are doing the customer service on the back end of the meat business and e-commerce business. And that all comes from the SOPs, and I'm a geek for those, and
Which
create
again, people
them.
don't like all the time, but they
No,
are.
and I'm terrible compared to like what I used to do as, for my clients. I'm terrible for my own self too. Like, I need to like hire myself from 5 years ago.
Right, right. Well, hey, SOPs, they
um,
save companies. So yeah, keep doing
Yeah,
it.
I agree. And then the third part of all these businesses that fit together is actually the real estate investment model. So we acquire land the same way that people would acquire apartments. Our tenants are animals instead of people. And then what we do with we value add the real estate transaction by fixing up any old houses, buildings, um, creating the spaces to where they could host events. Right now, the farm that we live on, I don't want to host events yet, but we had our wedding at, and whenever we move out of here, it can be a wedding venue. But then we also have two Airbnbs apart that are on the land. So
And
it's a
for
real
those
estate investment model that is
Yeah.
different than probably anything that people have seen before.
So cool. So, and for those of you listeners, followers, Viroqua is in the Driftless region. So,
Yeah.
would you like to share? I know you bought your first farm in 2020, the week that COVID started.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to share about that? I usually ask, what were your plans when you started your business? You've had multiple businesses, but what were your plans in March of 2020, and how has that changed?
So I originally just wanted to buy land. I was gonna work my businesses in silence because I was a cop for between the age of 20 and 20, like 5, got a lot of good life experiences out of that. But then jumped into the entrepreneur type world, and we were having multiple businesses where we were making just money online. And I was living back in my community I grew up in, but I didn't have to, I wasn't a part of the community. I really was essentially living here in silence. And I was okay with continuing that. And I was, we had a hunting brand at the time, and that's originally why we bought the property for hunting land.
Okay.
And then we were going to host events at it for the marketing agency. Um, and my first venture on the land, or my first idea, this is before COVID, this is before closing, we were going to do a turf field and sell sod.
Oh, wow.
Oh, because I was like, where's everyone getting sod from? There has to, like,
Yeah,
someone has to be growing sod around here.
totally.
Well, then I started looking into it, and you start looking at all the chemicals that are used. You're actually pulling sod off the ground. And that's actually how I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and he mentioned someone in the Driftless region by the name of Mark Shepard, who is the author of Restoration Agriculture.
Ooh.
Grabbed the book, read the book, drove down to his house probably like a week later, set up a meeting with him, I had a podcast at the time about hunting and land management,
Okay. Did
which
you tell
is
him you were driving down there, or did you just show up and
first 5 times I just showed up and drove around his place. And then, yeah, we got a meeting set up for a
good for
podcast,
you?
which
Okay, cool.
shows the podcast angle is the best way to get relationships formed in business, because no one ever says
Awesome.
no, right? So Mark's book is the second best-selling book in agriculture. So
Okay.
and now we are also, his farm is part of the 200 acres that we manage. So it's
Oh,
considered one of the most impressive permaculture type based farms in the world. He travels all over the world and does consulting. Um, so we were able to be aligned with him from the beginning. And anyways, so all that happens. We close the week of COVID. My marketing business, we were over leveraged in a doctor niche. We looked at that niche and we're like, this is the best niche ever. These guys are amazing clients. They don't have amazing business acumen, but they're just providing high-end services.
yeah.
And we were in stem cell chiros and dentist offices.
Okay.
Well, COVID hit, all of those like secondary medical offices for private offices got shut down, and they were used as emergency like medical wings, right?
Mhm.
So our stem cell doctors, all their like, because they essentially had clinics, they all got shut down. Chiros were the same, dentists were the same. So we lost 80% of our client base on a Monday of COVID, closing the farm on a Friday that week.
Wow.
And
And you're still
yeah, I
standing.
mean, I was in that business for 6 more months after that. And then business partner and I decided to go separate ways. I kind of essentially started the same type of business. I brought a couple of clients that I'd been working with specifically with me. I was much more just into, at that point, digital media buying. So just running Facebook ads and Instagram ads and
Mhm.
building landing pages and websites for people. Um, so, and we still have a couple of those clients, but my agency that we essentially built, all of my subcontract workers are now pretty much working on only my stuff. Yeah, that's kind of
Lots of
that's how we are
changes,
where
but
we are.
you persevere through it, and you think about it, you act quickly, you make changes, and you move forward. So congratulations for
Well, and
that.
it's like, I think it's, if you're going to do like the solo entrepreneur type thing, like I don't have a giant team. I mostly have some contracted people that work with me, and they're all over the country, and we're 100% remote. I have, my video editor and video production guy is out of this area, but everything is remote. So I have no pressure of having employees in an office. I don't have the overhead of an office. We have overhead of a farm, but
Yeah.
I think it is the way to do the type of business that I want to do now. I prefer to be here with my family and be present with them, but then I also like making money. So there has to be a
Gotta do it.
we have to figure something out there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're definitely doing it. My next question for you is what is the biggest way you impact the community?
Well, I mean, from the farming standpoint, we are producing calories, I think, in the most positive way. So we're a net positive on the environment, which is if you ever did research on food and how food is created, and majority of people majority of farming and industrial agriculture is a pretty large net negative,
Mhm.
and probably can be traded. We can trace it back to a lot of the issues that we're having right now. So we don't use chemicals. We don't spray anything on the farm. We allow the animals to manage it. We work within nature's kind of core principles. And the biggest thing in our area, if you know anything about the driftless, is we've had a lot of issues with flooding, and a lot of that's caused because of just not holding water on the ground like we're supposed to. So this type of farming solves all those issues. So we don't have chemicals running down into streams. We have clean drinking water, and we're holding the water on our farm and letting it slowly dissipate down a hill instead of just rushing and flooding and people losing their houses. Um, I think that's over the long run is going to be the most important thing that we do for our community. But then in the same token, we're also raising, I think, some of the best nutrition and some of the highest, superior food product, 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef, pastured pork, and completely free-range chickens. We're working against the commercial industrial model,
Sure.
but also that's a simple value add, and it translates on the end price.
Absolutely does. I love that. And the Driftless region really it's an incredible region of Wisconsin. Is beautiful. And I really feel like in that area people are conscious of the environment. Like hopefully everywhere
Well,
people are conscious, but they're hyper conscious in a really
yeah.
positive way. And
Well, it's two things happened. One, Organic Valley was founded in Viroqua. So Organic
um,
Valley is one of the largest organic food producers in the world. I think they were top 2 or 3. And at one point they were number 1, and big dogs have gotten into that industry and kind of um yeah, it's a whole other thing. But that they started it. Like, so Mark, the guy we were talking about earlier, was one of the original 14 farmers, a part of Organic Valley,
and he was the
back
one
in
who
like the
wrote that
80s.
book, The
Yep.
Restoration Agriculture.
Restoration agriculture. Yep.
Okay.
Um, so that's a billion-dollar business in Vernon County, Viroqua area, that brings in a lot of people who are interested in holistic type health, alternative food, alternative farming.
Mhm.
We had a Waldorf school get formed in Viroqua that brought in a lot of, if you live in Viroqua, there's people call one side of town hippies, one side of town not hippies, whatever. I think either way you look at it, it's brought a lot of good money into our community. It's brought a lot of different ways that people look at things. And when we used to go hunting, out west, and you drive through the Midwest and you go through all these little small towns, and they're essentially ghost towns, but then you come drive through Viroqua, and it's, jam packed every Saturday and Sunday morning. The amount of businesses down in downtown stretch, everything that all of those things have, I think, been a net positive. And what it's caused too is a lot of kind of startup businesses that specify or are specifically in this niche of organic farming or alternative farming. Um, so it is kind of a hub. You're not
Yeah.
wrong thinking that. Like, it is a weird, from Madison to Viroqua to La Crosse, you have a stretch in the Driftless that, for whatever reason, people are passionate about coming here, and it's set up well for the type of farming that these people do. And that's something that we do in the real estate side of stuff. So I specialize in that niche, and we're bringing people that are interested in this type of farming to our community, buying land. Some people will get angry about it because it's driving the price per acre up, but it is, I feel very confident with all the people that we have placed with new farms in the last 2 years, that they're going to do really good things with that land.
That's so great. Yeah, when they're doing great things, then okay, the prices are going to raise a little bit, but everything else is going to rise up with that in a positive way. So,
Well, and a lot of people are arbitraging, like living in a city or having a job in a city and then coming to a place like this where land prices are not very expensive. When you look at, say, where you are, a price per acre is probably, 10 to 15, $20,000 an acre, versus
mhm.
here, we're getting up to like 7 to 10, which is
Okay,
high, but you have money coming in from different places that would
they're
be
investing.
that's
Yeah,
what people are worried about, but
sure,
they're
sure.
investing in the land, which is
Yep,
awesome.
absolutely. So, Taylor, what is one challenge that you want to talk about that you have faced that other business owners could learn from? I know we kind of already talked about some challenges. Is there anything else you want to share in that realm?
Well, it's probably I mean, juggling of multiple businesses. I fell right into the same trap that majority of entrepreneurs fall into. You want to chase the next shiny object at all times until
Mhm.
you get into that shiny object and realize that it's not so shiny. So pulling back, I mean, people have to make money, right? I think no matter what, to get separated from the day-to-day work environment that we're kind of trained to go into,
Mhm.
you have to make a plunge. So getting service-based skills, I think, is the best way. Sales and service-based skills. That's what I did. I learned how to edit videos. I then translated to learning how to do graphic design, website design, and then actually into a more of a marketing agency.
Yep.
That funded the time that it took me to get from just starting from nothing to where we're actually buying land and then getting into the business that makes the most sense. And I think, any type of business model, we always look at all the different pieces and the different things that feed that business. So,
Mhm.
if you control the end consumer, there was a lot of money that traded hands in between the time that that product was created or that thing was created until the time that that end thing reaches the market. And then those people that you're interacting with in one business might actually be the same people you're interacting with another. So in my business model, it's the same people who are buying our meat are buying the land, the same people who buy the land buy the meat. And it's
Perfect.
it marries itself together. So,
Mhm.
but it's the industry now, like the service based businesses that got me to where I am now. Like it's because I wouldn't be able to do all these things if I didn't learn how to do that stuff. And then those things are the things that funded the ability to kind of explore and to go into different things. And then to figure out how can I create the perfect business that fits my passions. And so I can wake up every day and just do exactly what I want. That's why I don't take vacations.
Oh, because you love it. You love what
I don't want to leave. This is like the bet, but it's and someone would look at it and say you're working insane hours, but what is work if it doesn't feel like work?
Sure, absolutely. Business is the best game in the world if you let it be,
Yeah.
right? It's a fun game to play. Challenging,
And
fun.
the biggest part of that is getting out of low end tasks, right? So outsourcing and creating the SOPs and processes and systems that pull you out. I mean, what's the most famous saying? Like, work on your business, not in it.
Yep.
And you have to work in it to get started, but you have to actively think
Yes.
and pursue getting out of it. And
Well,
especially farming. Like, think about how farming, I catch myself, you know, doing really low end. I look at things like, hourly rate. What would you pay someone to do this task?
sure.
Um,
That's smart.
I do a lot of things that are low hourly rate and nothing. It takes no skill to open a bag of feed and dump it into my pigs. It takes no skill to open a fence and let the cattle move through.
Mhm.
So those things are part of my day, but I fit those in as during that same exact time I had headphones on. I'm listening to the notes that my assistant gave me the day before. I listen to my
Oh,
calendar. I do sales calls while we're doing these things. And then I also it's kind of like the same thing if someone were to have a workout membership and they go work out for like the first hour of their day and kind of blow off some steam from like 5 to 7:30. I'm actively active and being physically challenged, which I think is super important for my brain. I
And
was an
getting
athlete
fresh
in high school.
oxygen and right, like if
Yeah.
you're outside, you're getting that oxygen. It's interesting that you bring that up because some of the my most creative moments are doing things when I'm not necessarily doing the most profitable things. And if I'm taking the puppy for a walk or a weird kind of thing, but if I'm taking a shower, all of a sudden like or you're outside and doing something, all of a sudden these great ideas come. So if it's feeding your soul, if that task, even though it might not be financially very responsible to do that, if it's feeding your soul and if it's feeding greater thinking, then it really is worth it to do that, right?
Yeah,
Do you
for
stand
sure.
by that?
And the beauty behind it is that's the exact same thing that's in our SOPs for the other farms. So like we have multiple farms. Now all those things can be super well easily explained to someone, and
Mhm.
that those activities can always be repeated. It's just part of my daily routine, just like someone goes for a walk or someone does a
Yep.
workout, whatever it is that I do these things. But then I also realize in order for the business to scale, there's no way I could do it at the scale that we need to. So that's why my cutoff is 8 a.m. I go to work
Oh,
at 8 a.m. just like everyone else. And most, and then usually I have one farm day in a week that's scheduled and planned. But other than that, we slowly work through the outsourcing stuff and putting people in places. My real estate business, we have an amazing executive assistant, transaction coordinator that, I mean, we work amazing together. She handles everything once we get to a sale, which is the thing that I think a lot of real estate agents have problems with, because they just, you're always chasing the next sale. That's what your job is. You're a salesperson.
sure.
Um, but you can't forget that once a sale takes place, there's a long ways to go until closing.
Yeah, that
So
whole
I knew putting a person in that position was super important. Um, and then so I was able to pull myself out of, kind of like an assistant sending emails on a daily basis type role, and we're just constantly working. It's like, how can I just be that visionary person that's leading this whole thing? Because it's complex, but I think it's set up well for the future.
I love that. And thank you for bringing that up with your executive assistant too. Like, our coaches talk a lot with our clients about that 90-day experience. The first 90 days are really critical to make. Just because you made the sale doesn't mean you're going to keep it and get those referrals. You have to provide that longer term experience. So it's great that you're doing that and you're allowing somebody else to do that as well.
Well, it's if so I handle our marketing, right? I have, which I think is an important piece. I believe our marketing is probably better than all of my competition because I
Awesome.
think that, and that's from the skills that I had. But if I'm going to handle that and we drive, front end sales, all the marketing in the world is not going to solve if you provide a bad service or you
Totally.
provide a bad product. So all of that, all the things, the deliverables and the execution, to give people the best experience is, probably one of the, it's one of the most important things. People overlook it a lot. They want to focus on the marketing, or they're focused too much on the being perfect on the back end, and they're not focused on marketing. But marrying those two things together is, what I've found is you have the most success.
It's crucial for sure. So, Taylor, what does the future look like to Henry Pastures, and do you have an exit plan?
The e-commerce, meat sale business has a pretty good exit plan. We're trying to create something that's kind of a parallel to, you've probably heard, like Butcher Box, or it's pretty popular now, where you have people, their e-commerce sites essentially selling meat. I think that's an acquirable business. It's in a
Mhm.
business that I would not mind getting acquired, because then it would take, ideally in a perfect world, that business gets acquired, takes it away. It kind of has the most overhead and kind of the most issues when you talk about
Mhm.
storage of meat. And any e-commerce business, you're paying for storage somewhere, right? You're paying for
Yep.
postal, you're paying for shipping, you're paying for logistics. So it'd be amazing, to set up the business well, where it's in a really good place to sell in, 5 to 10 years. And it's kind of, there is some good precedent in that world, in the e-commerce world, to sell that type of business. But then we
Mhm.
would lock in, as part of the sale, hopefully a good place to send all of our meat in the future. Ideally, I'm just farming. That's my goal,
Love it.
farming. And then, all the real estate it always has an exit plan, but most likely any real estate's going to get rolled into more real estate.
Yep.
That's kind of the overarching long-term goal. And then the farming practices are all the farming practices are 100% portable. And if we sell a farm or lose a lease, we can pick up everything and we move to the next one. That's kind of like the long-term. It's what I want my kids to be doing when they get a little bit older. That's something they can handle. That's how they're going to learn about business, is they're going to get all their own ventures and go down that road. But I think the e-commerce side of stuff probably is the best thing that will be easily packaged and sold, and that is the idea of it. But then also the real estate, that's what real estate is. So
Yep.
we'll always be open to buying and selling.
Cool. Love it. So my final question for you today is, all subjects open, what inspires you most?
What inspires me most? Well, probably my kid. No, I just had a kid. He's just over a year old. Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. I am very interested in human performance, just trying to perform at the highest level, but then also that I encompass that with be having a really positive impact on your community and having a positive impact, lasting within the next generation. So like our job as people, most likely if you have kids, is to make sure that kid does a little bit better than what you did. And if
Yes.
they don't, then it's a little bit of a failure. So making sure that we keep the ball rolling, and I'm not worried. I guess I wouldn't necessarily say like make sure my kid is proud of me. It's make sure my kid is a good person, and is set up well to be successful. That's what inspires me. And then whatever people gain from that, from just being good people and making sure that you have a good positive impact on the world, I think that's my main goal. And I don't, make no mistake, I don't apologize for it. I believe that, making money is part of that. And I think I spend money in a better way than like other people. So I think I'm going to do better things with money than a lot of people. So we
Yeah.
have to make it. So we have to focus on how to make money. But we're making money in really good ways now, and which is awesome. Like everything is, it's when you're in that marketing world, you're marketing to people, and it's especially when you're in the client-based services, it's so hard to make sure people get ROIs because there's so many pieces that you don't have control over. If you're, working with the marketing, do you have control over the sales process, or
Sure.
how are they closing the leads that you're giving them? And then what is the thing that they're even doing that you're helping them do? Like, are they executing on the back end, like we just talked
Yes.
about?
Yep.
So making sure that people have positive, really good experiences with, each service that we provide or product that we provide, and then just having a good, everlasting, positive impact on this world. That's the
Love
goal.
that. Love that. Absolutely. We just finished as a team, our coaches in our marketing department, reading the book, The Gap and the Gain.
Hmm.
And one of the things you just said that I actually love is, you're not apologizing about making money, about making a positive impact. And they talk about that in the book, is you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to apologize for when you're doing great things. For, I mean, if you're making money and you're spending it in responsible ways, or investing in responsible ways, and in keeping that gain, that positive mindset, and that translate to impact on communities, on other businesses, on whatever that is that you're working on. So congratulations on having that mindset. Thank you so much for your time today, for sharing that other book, the restoration agriculture, as well, for sharing your businesses. Looking forward to that. If somebody wants to go to the e-commerce site, if they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way? What are good call to actions that they can connect?
Yeah, if you go to henrypastures.com right now, we are doing our summer bulk beef sales. So you can buy a full, half, quarter, or an eighth beef. And we have some animals going in the end of June, so they'll be ready around the 1st of August. And then we have another group going in August. They'll be ready around the 1st of October. And then we do sell the e-commerce boxes, but right now we are focused on selling the bulk beef. And that's because what we're trying to do is just get people the best price, and
Mhm.
then that essentially gives them the meat that they need for the year. So like our family, we have a family of 3. We will have one whole cow or beef animal, whatever you want to say. It's about 400 pounds of meat.
Okay.
We will have one whole pig. That's about 130 pounds of pork that comes out of that, and then we try to get about 50 chickens. We're not doing a giant chicken operation on the website,
Okay.
but I'm saying that's our goal. 1 chicken a week, beef, pork, no chemicals put in these animals, raised
Love
on
that.
grass, net positive for the environment. Our website's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, there's a lot of information on there. And then, the buying and selling of real estate, you can go to driftlessregionland.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. Congratulations on that little 1-year-old, and keep
Thanks.
growing. Seriously. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It was
Take care.
awesome. Have a great day.
You too.